Hi. I do urge you to have a glass of something to drink because you're really gonna get thirsty.
I have some water next to me.
You have
So
water? Okay, good.
yeah.
Because غنبقى نهضر معاك tellement you're gonna be like, I need a drink. Hi everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of NouTalks. Today I'm joined by my good friend that I met recently. Otman Harrak.
Thank you, Nouhaila, for this quick introduction. So my name is Otman Harrak. I am a 28 years old, soon to be 29 entrepreneur in the digital field. I am also a consultant in digital transformation. I've lived for the past 11 years in France before I just recently came back to Morocco, which is my home country. And today I'm fully on my most successful project so far, which is Yalah, which is a carpool community that we have transformed in the past 2 years into a carpool app, which serves today more than 400K users around Morocco.
That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you very much. So that was the reason, the biggest trigger that could actually convince me to go back to Morocco. I mean, there were so many things going on the past months, and it wasn't possible for me to co-manage that with my co-founder from France. So I decided to leave everything behind and just take my bags and come back to be on the tech field in Morocco, which is today like the most important, most amazing time for entrepreneurship in Morocco. Like there are so many things going on, and it was like the perfect timing for me to do this big step ahead and just move back to Morocco.
That's so great. Oh my God. You told me so many things. I have so many questions already. I just want to jump ahead and ask you first. Why did you start a carpool startup? What triggered that? When did you start? Tell me about Allah's beginning.
Sure. Well, Allah was initially co-founded by Hisham Zwawi, who is my co-founder today. He started this amazing adventure back to our baccalaureate period when we were still living in Morocco and wishing to have some opportunities abroad. For me, it was to go and have my studies there. And for him, it was staying in Morocco to follow up to his engineer studies. So actually, we were pretty good friends when we were young. Actually, we had some amazing times during all the previous years where we used to stay in Morocco, like traveling together. I mean, we were part of a big crew of friends, and we never actually in the past had this amazing relationship as we have today, because we were just young and young, just want to have fun. So we never had the opportunity to discuss about anything like entrepreneurship or these kind of boring stuff for a young person. And actually we were separated for quite a long time. It's been like, I guess, at least 9 or 10 years that we didn't actually manage to link up again, because he was in his Moroccan life, moving with Pipiala, because he actually took the initiative to launch it in 2013, and he was very passionate about that small group of friends that used to carpool in the past, and he actually moved with that community spirit until I met him back again in 2018. And that's the time in our lives where we actually had quite few experiences in the entrepreneurship field. Myself co-founded like two startups before I joined him on Pipiala. And the real story of me and Hisham started 2 years ago, and more precisely in September 2018, and it was a period of my life where I was actually having a full-time job being a consultant, and I had you know blocked or stopped the investment, my time investment on the previous projects, because it was first it was for administrative reasons in France. So I couldn't be entrepreneur and work in full-time job at the same time, and that's one of the biggest problems that people, and I mean foreign people like me in France go through before they move from the student card to the employee card, as you can mention. And I was blocked because I couldn't found any company there, and I found myself also in a situation where I've stopped my previous project because I didn't have enough experience to scale what I was doing, to go and find investment for what I was doing, and my personal funds were going got low and lower and lower every time, and I felt myself in the urge to find a job, and that's why I stopped my previous experiences. But back then, when I met Hisham, like I was more comfortable financially because I had 2 or 3 years consulting in the digital transformation field with insurance companies. And I told him, hey, let's just discuss when I'll be back in Morocco. I've seen that you're moving quite well with Yalah. I would be very glad if we can discuss. And my initial goal wasn't actually to be with him in this adventure from the beginning. Yalah basically was initially when we met in that coffee that morning, when I was during my vacay in Morocco, in Fez, in our hometown, we actually just took a coffee and we're discussing the eventually to build a digital agency, and that was our main reason for having that coffee. The idea was to bring that consulting spirit and apply it in the Moroccan digital world with a better focus on quality, delivery, prices, and UX and UI design. Basically, it was, I mean, the Moroccan tech scene and the digital products that were at that time were very low quality and low design to me, and I had that dream to change everything, and he was like the perfect person to start something like that with. And it took us 30 minutes to decide that we were made for each other and
Yeah.
do the leap. And we said, hey, why not working on PPPLA as our first business card? Like, hey, let's introduce PPPLA as one of our first projects for the digital agency. And long story short, it became our life's project, basically, because we wanted to invest in quality and time for that project. And we found ourselves working day and nights for PPPLA, enjoying to work together, and in the meantime, discovering all the possibilities that were still awaiting for us in that particular project. So we just forgot, basically, why we were initially partnered together, which means creating the digital agency at first. But we just left that idea behind and moved with PPPLA all along. So that's how it happened.
That's such an amazing story to tell. Honestly, every time I have a talk with an entrepreneur, or even like when people ask you about my story, I think it's always interesting when you realize that a lot of partnerships, like entrepreneurship, business partnerships, they start with like meeting the right person, and I think that's just really amazing. I mean, it was the same thing for me when I started with KSET. It was because I met Haytham, and even though like maybe I wouldn't have started by myself, but it was like a good encounter. We motivated each other to do it. And I think maybe that's what happened to you too. And I actually just wanted to know, like, first of all, congratulations for the startup and all the achievements that you've done, because I really think it's amazing and a lot of people should know about it. And I'm pretty sure people will know about it more, because it's such a great initiative. And I think we lack that. We lack young people, first of all, like spirit wise, like we lack entrepreneurs in Morocco, like young entrepreneurs. And secondly, we like initiatives like this, things that have like kind of like a social aspect to them too. And I think PPPL has that social aspect, which is, building communities and offering a cheaper alternative for transportation, which I think is really great. And you said something. You said that you were an entrepreneur before you've partnered with Hisham. Okay. I want to know how that happened. What ticked for you that you wanted to become an entrepreneur at a young age? Did you have like other experiences, or because I think you went to business school and I'd like to know about that. Is it part of your education, or, tell me how this happened, how it came to life.
Definitely. Well, you know, you are never born an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship comes with attention to your environment, and it comes from your ability to sense improvement channels, and your ability to construct that issue and respond to it with a clear, simple vision, which is your solution as an entrepreneur. For myself, I had like a let's say an advantage, a natural advantage that came from also my father. My father isn't actually an entrepreneur; he is an architect. He just recently, I think, the last 10 years, moved to entrepreneurship, like building things and selling in Morocco. But he was never supporting that idea of me being an entrepreneur, and neither my mother, because they were, I mean, they saw my potential as a future manager or a future someone who's working in a company. And you can believe me that it is still the case. I can no matter achieve in my life, and my parents would still think that I need a safe job. uh, but
Yeah.
that's something that
I get that.
that's something that comes directly from our culture. We are very risk averse culture, and we need to deal with it. And that's unfortunately something that our young entrepreneurs all around, not Morocco, but typically all the Mediterranean cultures, like they really believe in the opportunity to be in a safe spot for the rest of your life. And but how my father actually helped me, like he was a creative person, like being an architect gives you a different perspective on life, and I was nurtured in that very artistic mindset, which actually brought me at a very early age into the design world. And I, I I basically started using like the first software editors for pictures and videos, and I was learning more and more every day till I became an expert in Photoshop, Illustrator, in design, and that actually gave me a very great power in how I would actually design the solution I'm seeing to a problem. So in the beginning, I was quite passionate about designing logos, designing website, and quickly moving with that experience into what actually I learned in real life through consulting, and the design mixed to an ability to construct that idea and construct processes and build your solution with design makes it so much easier for you to express how you see the solution. And it was always helping me to be able to design things. And just like a few years earlier than today. Like I learned what is user experience, what is user interface, how you involve your customers in the development of your product, and the importance of having an iterative approach to what you develop. And I really enjoyed learning these new things, and this stuff mixed to my creative eye made me able to start in the entrepreneurial world and have this kind of natural benefits. Um, so in the real world, there are two talents that are required to build like your first prototype. It's design and coding. Okay, today there are so many tools that help you design things, and there are so many tools that you can build without code. There are the no code things, and we can talk about them later. These tools help you definitely build anything from scratch without prior abilities in design or coding. So how all this made me jump into the entrepreneurship, it was more of a period in my life, and it was actually, as you said before, it is related to the business school, and business school gave me, additionally to design, all the tools, all the information needed for me to have that macro vision of what you should be doing as an entrepreneur. It involves everything, such as marketing, such as law, such as product management, etc. So the business school was really an eye opener about this, which actually the consultant just reinforced in the future. So my very first experience as an entrepreneur, like it is a funny story, because I think you'll be the first one, Nouhaila, that I'm gonna say this story to. So basically,
Juicy
yeah,
stories.
very
I like
juicy
this.
one.
Exclusive stories.
Very juicy one. To begin with, I was in my first year of the business school, and I had a girlfriend in the. It always funny when you start. I had a girlfriend at that period.
That starts well.
I'm gonna tell you something like very juicy, and I think just only a few of my friends know about this story. But when you're a student in business school, you don't necessarily have a lot of means to travel to do things. And my girlfriend of that period, like, she actually went into an abroad program in an Italian city, where she should actually learn language and discover the culture. And I really 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 wanted to go and see her there, as per my sign of love, as as I would mention too. So I didn't have time specifically to find a new job or work for a short period. I had my creativity, my ambition, and my ability to pitch things. And basically, we had one competition. I still have videos for that. Like, I was still very very young in my very first year of business school, and I went into what we call a cafe pitch, which is actually a box where you came inside, and you have 1 minute to pitch your idea. And what the competition was really about is to be able to sell a product or an idea for your school. It was sponsored by Wisby at that period, which is today one of the biggest HR companies and actually job landing pages. I had the chance to meet Benjamin Ducuzo, who is the founder of this company in that period. And one of the prizes were public prize. Okay, so I had first to learn very quickly how to pitch and perfect my pitch, and I also had like 15 days of massive voting to win the prize that would allow me to go and see my girlfriend. So you could imagine that I spammed all my friends days and nights, so they can vote and make their people vote. And that's really triggered inside my spirit some sort of joy to be able to manage such a movement towards one goal. And I really enjoyed, even though it's very tiring, the whole process of voting of people until I won the prize that allowed me to go and travel and see my girlfriend of that period.
I had a question. Did you use your story to sell votes to tell people to vote for you? Did you tell them? Did you tell them that you wanted the money to go to
Absolutely not.
Italy?
I could actually, I could, but I think I was shy at that period to announce such things. And for me, it was more about the project than the prize. And I needed to reinforce and make people trust my project before my objectives, because personal objectives as an entrepreneur are something, and what you do as a project for your public, for your users, is something else. And I am no, I do not regret not having used that punchline of yeah, but
You
I,
won
I I went,
anyway.
and that was great. That was for my personal objective. Like, you always, I mean, that's something also when you want to focus as an entrepreneur, is to know what are your real objectives. Are your objectives aligned with your personal interest or the interest of the people you work for? And a good entrepreneur always makes the interest of other people in what we call al-wajiha, which means it should be always your first focus is to serve the interest of your people. And at that period, like, I didn't have a huge business plan for that project that I pitched in my first year of business school, but it brought me to the city where my girlfriend used to spend her learning holidays. And it was great. It was such a big it was very happy.
Wait. It's bad. I just want to say something. The girl went for an exchange program, and you called it learning holidays.
Because that's
If
the
that does
truth.
not
And if
speak for
anyone can actually counter that, I am able to negotiate it, because I've been there.
no, I agree. It's just really funny. You didn't even think twice about it. You were like learning
Yeah,
holidays.
because they have also time to enjoy the city, and they, I mean, not to say bad things about that, but they learn things, and they enjoyed the time, and that was a good mix for them.
Okay, so that was your first entrepreneurial. I can't speak anymore. That was your first entrepreneurial experience. So you got money out of it, but you never followed
Exactly,
through with your
exactly. And
project.
that was like my first lesson of pitching. And I found myself pretty convincing in that period. Not to compare with today, but I had like this convincing power, because I am someone who believes in what he does. Like, I really, when you're an entrepreneur, you must be your biggest supporter. And what comes next is the support of people you love and care about, and that's how it goes. But you always need to support yourself, be careful for yourself, and it's more it's more accurate in our cultural context, because you won't ever have support for being an entrepreneur in a risk averse culture, because you will always have your friends tell you not to do that, your parents going crazy, oh my god, you're gonna lose everything, that's not why we paid your school. For those who are lucky enough to have this kind of help from their parents. And it was such a big responsibility for me to construct that idea of me being an entrepreneur at some point. And the pitch really opened my eyes, and I found myself also interested in a lot of subjects in my business schools, and I was performing in the ones who involved creativity and involved the business attitude towards reaching your entrepreneurial goals. And all that mixed up, I actually really, cared about this lessons, and they brought me so many interesting stuff to learn from. And uh, all that summed up, and long story short, uh, after I finished the business school, the first thing I did was to actually launch my first startup.
So you went to business school in France,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. After you graduated, you started your first company.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. So coming to that time of when I finished my business school, like I was very pumped up with all the things I've learned, and still with no big experiences, more than actually the internships and the stuff that I did before. And I really was like very eager to start a new business as soon as I moved from my business school. And my first project then came from, again, the interest that I gave to networking when I was in the business school. And meeting to another, encounter to another, brought me to my very first co-founder, who is Benjamin van der Eet. Actually, this guy, I met him in Belgium once during one of my internships when I used to work for a investment fund. And this guy, like, the feeling was so great that this guy just told me, "Hey, you are now in your internship. I see you in a better position than being an intern in this company. Why not just you with your creative world and his own creative world?" Because this guy was a designer architect. He was an interior architect, to be precise. And the guy wanted something in the real estate world, and I was ready at that time, because I jumped few of the stories that made me better in understanding the design process and these things I learned in my past experiences. And this guy told me, "Hey, let's just jump into this." He actually was at the timing of his life where he wanted to export himself to Canada, and I was there in France, and we decided to start that new business in a distance kind of relationship. And it took me almost, I think, 9 or 10 months to be able to produce the first MVP.
What was the? Do you mind telling me what the business was?
Sure. That business was called Darling, which is like Darling but applied to door and the houses. So I found my Darling. It was like I found my perfect place. And this project came from the merging of our both worlds and visions in the real estate world. And it brought us to the idea that we needed to create some sort of Snapchat for real estate. And the idea at that period was to let people do live visits for apartments, not with the 360-degree view with cameras and all that stuff. It was real live one-to-many kind of relationship that would come from a real estate agent to many people. And between parentheses, I'm jumping on this spot to tell you that this kind of project is something we're actually working again on after we stopped it back to the years I just finished my school, because we believe it's the perfect timing to launch something like that. This project would have really boomed, I guess, in this period, because people are less eager to go and do multiple visits. So this project's gonna see the life very soon. But how you?
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very
This is
excited.
like
There are so
getting
many good things going
exclusive
on.
content.
There are so many good things going on, but that's only comes from the experiences and the lessons you learn. And one of the biggest lessons I learned from that Dorlin experience at that period is that, first, you need to be able to work on a daily basis with your co-founder. You need to be able to have same vision, same kind of investment, same kind of purpose, and be in the same financial, almost the same financial situation, because this guy was making hundreds of thousands of dollars with his project. He launched also other project at that time, but all related to interior design and building new fashionable kind of houses, like his last concept of the BV Cube, which are like houses you actually build. Like, it's like Rubik's. No, it's not like a Rubik's Cube. It's in the format of a Rubik's Cube. It's square, and this house can grow with how your life goes, which means you buy a cube of house and you can expand it while your family expand. And basically, it's like building, you just buy the land. I mean, I'm not doing promotion for him, but this concept is so crazy right now. It's working well for him, and I think people should know about it. It's like houses that evolved with your life. And basically, when you start alone, you just buy one cube. When you have your wife, you buy the second one. With your child, you have the third, and you can also remove these cubes once you actually do not have your children anymore with you, and it evolves with your life. And that concept is really working well in Canada today.
It's interesting. Do you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've watched there's like a show on Netflix, it's called Tiny Homes. I don't know if it rings a bell. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I might have heard about it, but I can't really recall what is it about.
Well, if maybe your friend's gonna probably know it, but it's like a concept that's booming. It's booming in the US. And what people do basically is that they sell their big houses because they want to go, like, they want to declutter, because like you said, for example, parents, for example, when their children go to college, they don't need as much space anymore, or people want to save up money of rent. They actually have architects build them tiny homes, which are triangle size home. It's like a moving house, basically.
Sure, definitely.
That you actually move with you wherever you go, and you can put it whatever you want.
That's awesome.
And they actually design amazing houses with like very functional, with the right amount of space you need to live like a good life, depending on depending on the family, etc., etc. And apparently it's really, really booming in the United States, because a lot of people don't have enough financials or money, or they need the money for something else. And yeah, it reminded me of that, because it's the concept is to have the space you need at the right time.
Absolutely.
And you actually can move it up. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And this eco-friendly spirit, like, is really very, very interesting in these periods, because I mean there are so many things going on to save the world and save the environment, and have positive impact, that this kind of stuff is really working well. And and to go back to our story, to the front line where we were both working on Darlene, he wanted to use that for not only the houses that he would sell, but also for all the real estate industry. And actually, the fact he was very busy with his entrepreneur life, and I was like the student taking care of everything, like design, prototyping, working with developers, doing the whole situation, was really, really a pain. And that no, that didn't prevent us from talking again and seeing how we can actually improve our way of work. But that's one very good lesson to learn as an entrepreneur, is that you really need to have the same energy with your partner when you do the stuff, and not not let someone wait for the other one to finish things and just start marketing, because this is not how it works in the real life. Both energies should go on the same side. And it was a very, very difficult year for me after school. I had the energy to do that, but without financing, with your parents still hating on you because they should actually help you and still pay for you, when they expected you to be able to be in a very good position, or at least start your career. That was a very, very hard moment for me. I think where I built the most important part of my personality. And confinement, the confinement that we are living today, that's the kind of life that I had before, because I had no resources, nothing, just my home and my Monsieur Gelé to eat, and I was like freaking focused on that target only. I forgot. You lose rationality when you are an entrepreneur at some point, and if you do not have someone or something that triggers that conscientiousness about your errors, your stupid, very crazy errors, you are definitely not going to accept the truth, and you are just going and working and working and working
And
and
and what triggered that for you?
sorry, what was your question?
What triggered that for
Well,
you?
it triggered you know what is important in starting a business. Okay, that basically triggered a better understanding of how you should manage your time as an entrepreneur, how you would actually work, what's the speed you should go with when you want to launch an MVP. And I had such a perfectionist vision about this first product, and it took me 9 months to launch an MVP, which is crazy amount of time, while I could just focus on what makes my MVP working and test it and try it with the market. In the meantime, all I did with that beginner view of entrepreneurship is believing that having a great, fully functional product is what makes people stay. Okay, that was really from the reality, from the market, my biggest slap, my monumental slap of reality. And I find myself losing 1 year of that amount of work. And when I abandoned the project, once it went public, like my partner throwed like a very big ceremony for launching that project, and I think I left 3 days after that. And you know why? Because first,
Why?
I lost all my energy. I was like dead, without
Not excited
not
anymore.
excited anymore, because it was like it was like une punition for me, like to stay all that time working alone and watch him do the presentation and all this stuff. Like it's really complicated when you have like a very big age difference with your co-founder, where the visions are all the same, where the positions are all the same, and I mean, even though we were separating our shares on half, uh, it wouldn't reflect on how we would collaborate to make the project go through these difficulties. And I was eating almost raw pizzas while he was having a great life and all that stuff. And these kind of stuff makes people and made me to at least really appreciate the importance of having someone who works from day one with you, who is complementary to what you can do, and that can wake you up when needed. And that's for me the three things that are very important in a co-founder, to be able to go and move on with the project. And I never did that mistake again, and I'm very happy. Even it was very, it was learning the hard way for me. And after that, I went into consulting. I launched another project. After that, I never stopped learning. And for my last project, which is PPP, I spent 1 year working and securing my revenue, my monthly revenue as a consultant, while being the PPPLA co-founder, which means I learned that if I manage well my time, I wouldn't go through the pain of having to leave everything and wish that a project worked.
Yeah, I mean, like, your experience is really interesting, and I think it's very relevant to a lot of people because I do get asked this question a lot. For example, why did you leave your startup and go into the corporate world? And from your experience, you've done like going from entrepreneur world to entrepreneur to corporate, and then from corporate again to entrepreneurship, which is, very interesting. And because I get that question a lot, I want to ask you for you, and I understand now from your story and how, you've launched it and you realized that you had so much else to learn, so you went into consulting. What triggered that? I mean, you were working in consulting for like how many years?
For 4 years.
For 4 years. So you were working as a consultant in Paris. The life after business school, I think it's everybody's aspiration
Yeah.
after like finance in business school. I'm in marketing, so I do not relate that much, but I get it. At which point in your consulting career in France did you want to go back to entrepreneurship?
For me, for two things. The first one was that I had such a bad memory with my first entrepreneurial experience, darling, and it is always and will always stick to my mind. And I really went through a very bad hard, and it was a hardship for me, like crazy. Like I remember not being able to go with my friends to the movies to have some drinks, all because or anything that I could actually bring some positive vibes to my life. I was just stubborn, and uh, it made me forget the rationality of securing a revenue, of doing stuff properly before I would be an entrepreneur in the proper aspect of the term.
You were isolating yourself, you were not having any fun, you were not having any breaks
Mhm.
from your first experience. So it was, I mean, I understand it was a bad experience, but usually people, when they have a bad experience from, like, for example, entrepreneurship, they're afraid to do it again, but you were not.
I was not, and in the contrary, to be able to do my first project, I had to negotiate with my father at that time, and I told him, "Hey, you will not give me money, you will borrow me money." So the money I was living with was the money that actually would help me go with my first project, and I would reimburse him at some point. And that's the only way I could negotiate that with my father at that period. And I am very happy and proud that I did that, because um, he was somehow my first investor. Okay, and I was never really able to pay that back in a way that could reimburse him for that, and it was like a very very shameful experience for me. And when you got such experiences, you just go back to work in the corporate world and you say, okay, I'm never doing this again. It was
Oh,
so
so
hard.
is this why is this why you went into consulting, because you felt ashamed,
I felt ashamed, and I felt you know
disappointed?
disappointed, not being able to respect the first vision that I had of being able to
Yeah.
quickly move on with my first project, make money, reimburse my father, all that fancy visions that you have of things, your best case scenario going. And that's the kind of you know uh, crazy stuff that you are thinking of when you're in your first years of experience as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur. But everything changed with consulting, because I had more maturity, more I used to meet with big corporate managers, have some very hard clients, nice clients. It got me to the point that I to experience people as they are in their biggest positions, and it's also opened my eyes on the reality of the people that are working below. And I found out while working in strategy that people are like cogs, and that's something that I would have never wanted to assume or even be part of. And that's why being a cog was never fancy for me, and I had a big debt it was more of a moral debt to my parents who trusted me rather than financial, because my father would never ask me to pay him that money again. But I always felt that uh, after 4 years of consulting, that I would do things in such a better way, because I never stopped learning, because it was such a big shame for me to fail that year, that every next year, during the past years, 4 years that I went through, were like focus on how to do better for the next experience. And the result is what you see today through PPP is that I never did again any of the stupid mistakes that you do as an entrepreneur. I always do plans, strategies for everything I undertake. It is never done in a dreamy way. I always have like clear-minded steps, milestones. Like I learned all the basics and even more of managing a project. I had such a better understanding of the all the influences of a team, of how it should work, how you can construct and build, a very collaborative team with such a great team spirit, and everything I could take from the consulting world, because I was able to meet the strategy guys, the big corporate, the CEOs, and blah blah blah, made me understand how things should work, and stop thinking like a baby entrepreneur, and have that clear vision of how you should operate things. And just to give an example, one of the learnings was never to quit something before you are sure enough that it would generate a revenue for you to move on. And that's my advice to all the entrepreneurs, is that when you want to launch yourself, whether you have enough financials to live for at least the next year, okay, or you are in contact even before you think of building that project with investors or business angels that will be ready to invest in your idea to move on with it. And because I didn't have these two options for PPPLA, because PPPLA was like a blue ocean strategy kind of project where you just launch something in a market that have never existed. And maybe that represents also some traits of who I am. I really like to take very huge leaps into the unknown. And Carpool is one of these projects that do not exist in Morocco, and there are no business references to say, oh, this business model shall work, this shall not work. It is always a learning process. But to go back to what I would say as a first lesson, I didn't have these two options of business angel, of any financials that could help me live for 1 year. So I decided to double my work time as a consultant. And basically what I had to go through is a 1 year from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning in the next day. I used to work 12s and 13 and 14s of hours every day, just to never feel the intensity and the hardship of not having enough financials to move with the project, because I know for real that they have such a big impact on any of your decisions. You cannot take smart objective decisions when at the end of the day you are having a hard time paying your rent.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you really need that atmosphere
Yeah.
to
Stability and like, yeah. I get it.
and I wanted to ensure that for my collaboration with Hisham, that I would never have anything else than the business interest in my daily thinking and daily operations. And that worked perfectly well. So basically, to compare with my previous period, like I was working 2 or 3 times more during a day, being a consultant and an entrepreneur at night. And I never felt as happy and as energetic as I could feel when I was only with Darlene with no experience and with no money. So
Yeah.
uh, to be honest, like I had such a great year of being a pretty good consultant at what I did, and at the same time being able to have very positive energy at night, moving on with Yalah, designing, doing the MVPs, doing the research at night, collaborating with the right people at the right time. Like I really felt confident in what I was doing, and the financial security made me really, uh, you know, uh, it made me just comfortable enough to take the right decisions for the company, which made it go the way it is today. And yeah, that's it. So that's really how all the lessons, all the hardships, and how they changed the way I took decisions for the startup, and all the things I learned through networking, through learning every day, through building that energy that could keep me going when I was a consultant, till I was sure that PPPL was on the right way, and all the positive things started coming, like going on TV, on the ZEM for the for شكون اللي غادي يستثمر في مشروعي, which is who wants to invest in my project, which is the equivalent of the Shark Tank in Morocco. Then after I met superstars, I met very, very big investors. Today we're discussing to probably go to Saudi Arabia. Like there are so many things going today, and that came from a planned, step by step, very rational, very hard learning kind of output of the person I was, and I am today. And yeah, that's how I build up everything so far.
Yeah. Well, that's really fascinating. Like I'm like religiously listening to what you're saying, and I really relate to so much you're saying as well. As I told you, because I've done a little bit of these similar experiences, and I just want to know, and I I just wanted to understand if today, after you chose to go back to Morocco to focus on your startup and capitalize on everything you've learned in consulting, which is really, really great, um, are there any challenges you're facing today still? Because I do know that it's still, as you said, a learning experience, because I'm pretty sure for most entrepreneurs, once it stops being learning a learning experience and a challenge, then it becomes probably boring and you lose interest. So as I'm hearing you speak, I know you're very excited and there's so many projects, as you said. I just want to know if there are any challenges you're facing today, either on a personal level, like as an entrepreneur, or on your startup, without going into the details of the business, because I'm pretty sure that's, very confidential. But tell me about those challenges. What are you facing today after you moved back to Morocco?
Well, to be honest, it's a wonderful experience so far. Like, I mean, I'll start with the personal side of it, because I think what really, I mean, personal balance and happiness really uh, makes a good company to me, and the way you manage yourself, your feelings, your learn your lessons, and stop being always criticizing yourself, have a good relationship with yourself, as I would always recommend. That's the first thing. And I think every year that goes, I feel like I'm a better mature person, and a more mature person, and I really appreciate every new step in my life. And this is one of these new crazy things that happened in my life, is to be in Morocco. And like, if you would ask me 3 years ago if you would ever go back to Morocco, like, I would say hell no, because I was really excited of all the possibilities that I could have, maybe doing entrepreneurship in the United States. I was really dreaming of going to the Silicon Valley. I was also, kind of interested in Dubai, and all the opportunities that could come from it. And I would never think of Morocco. But what made me today come back to Morocco is really pure. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say chance, because it really came through my endeavor, entrepreneurial endeavor during these past years. But you know, life builds for you the amazing opportunities that you would take. And Morocco is one of these experiences, and I really, really enjoyed this literally transformation in my life, because you used to live in Paris in the cloudy days, and you know sorry, Nouhaila, for this.
Did you move for the sun?
No,
You
but
can just tell me that if it's just the sun.
that's just an excuse. Sun is not really the sun is a good thing. I really enjoy sun, and it brings me so much energy to be under the sun. But it's not that thing only. It's all the cumulative um, interest that you can find in moving to in a country, and more specifically to your home country. And what I really oversaw here before coming is the entrepreneurial momentum in Morocco. Like, this is basically one of the most interesting periods in the entrepreneurship field in Morocco. And it's crazy how all these programs, financing, business angel, just went through a sudden interest for entrepreneurship. And I think that the coronavirus, the pandemic, helped and that helped these people understand the role and the importance of startups in building a digital ecosystems. And if that they could only count on big corporations, they might not reach that efficiency that quickly. So they created so many new programs. Startups are shown in TV that never happened. I mean, it happened at some point, like I think 10 years ago, with the TV show Challenge. It was like a very old, TV show going live in front of 5 or 6 million people.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and it stopped from that period. There was nothing else regarding startups until today. And today it is really like a very good momentum to be here, and that's why I moved here. The startup ecosystem, the entrepreneurial spirit is really fascinating right now in here. And I met so many fantastic entrepreneurs. It's really something I would share with people who are still doubting. you know um, you spent 10 years in France, and you believe that Morocco didn't move from the aspect or from the state it was 10 years ago. And I can tell you something very true. People here are more stressed and excited and fascinating as the ones I met in Paris. And that's a reality here in Casablanca. People are speeding in all ways. They're really fascinating, working hard. They're really awesomely fascinating people. And I found out that I am actually working in this entrepreneurial ecosystem with people as good as I would meet and work with in the same period in France, for example. And that's something people do not know. Really today, the youngsters, the young entrepreneurs, the people that believe in the Moroccan tech are very smart, interesting people. And I think you had the occasion to meet them in Clubhouse, and that's only like a proportion of the current mindset in Morocco. And that's one of the most interesting surprises that I have found here. And that made me really validate my me being here and enjoying this period and trying to get the most of it, and try to raise and rise the entrepreneurial level. So
It Esmen, as you're speaking, I see that you have so much passion, and that you were surprised when you moved back to Morocco by how interesting it is, that there's so much opportunity. And I agree with you. And I've always said that, and I always will say it. I think the African continent in general shows so much potential, especially right now. and it's, always the right moment to go back and invest before, it just booms and other people comes and, take away that opportunity. However, there's something I've always asked myself, and something, because I was an entrepreneur in Morocco back in 2015, which was, there was no entrepreneurship ecosystem yet. It was still like a baby ecosystem. And as an entrepreneur student, I found so many, challenges. It was extremely hard to find investors, and, and I'm so grateful and glad that today people are aware. And you talked about, finding investors and their, investment funds or shows that, give out aid for entrepreneurs. But you said that the people are great, which I agree with you. There's so much potential in Morocco, but is the environment, like the socioeconomic, legal, etc., environment, helping those young entrepreneurs? Because even though the people are willing to invest, is the ecosystem helping?
Well, that's something true. I mean, the socio-economical aspect of Morocco, if we talk about today conjuncture, and talking about the current state, like in every place of the world you will have socio-economical problem, and that's a period where at least we feel all equal around the world. The smartest entrepreneurs today will know how to overcome and find the right product for the right people. It is never gonna be, and I mean, we cannot compare United States to the Moroccan market in terms of value, and if we compare that to the money funding or money raising potential, like in Morocco, it's still less because it reflects the market currently, and of course there are many challenges that adds up to add up to the economical and social issues that we'll be facing in the near years. But what I believe is that there will be a turning point after everything is finished, where people will be eager to travel, to gain back their freedom. People are now really investing. The people that we are talking about are not really how to say that, like, today the people that used to look like people who do not have the means to do stuff are now the biggest interesting proportion of people buying e-commerce and doing the stuff. And like I just had the occasion to see a TV mission today about all people buying smart things for their homes. Like it's literally exploding. So people are now gaining that that culture of paying things in the internet and using their credit card, which is like today one of the biggest challenges for any startup in Morocco. It's the ability of using the credit card to pay. And
yes,
yeah.
I know. I can relate, such an important subject for
and
me.
I think we can do another podcast about that, because there are so many clever ideas to change this whole ecosystem, because people like have a lot of cash in their places, but they have no means to use it. And there are so many things I would even like to brainstorm with you regarding the subject, but this is not the session for today. But
we'll do that after.
But basically, like, for real, today people are gaining this pay your service through credit card kind of thing, and which is also much needed for us today in our startup, because we make people pay with credit card and cash. And this transformation that the Moroccan people have actually acknowledged and are living will definitely help the next tech startups in the future. And the focus should be for these companies to give cheaper, better quality alternatives to what already exists in Morocco, and I'm definitely sure that people will follow them on that. And I think carpool, for example, is one of the interesting examples to illustrate that, because mobility is like, we have been a lot impacted with this pandemic, because you need your ton attestation, your pass, your your go out pass, to be able to move around the city or travel. And for Morocco, it's still the case today. So that's why we're only running on 30% activity for almost 1 year. And I'm still having a smile discussing with you this, because I know that very soon it's going to change, and people will be back, and they will miss traveling, and they will be more friendly with their credit cards, and they will be really eager to explore new ways of traveling, including the ones like us, like ours, that help them travel cheaper. And because it's going to be a economical, there will be an economical impact. Every solution that is digital, with less structure or infrastructure, that for which the end price will be more interesting to the people, to what people used to pay or buy, will be adopted massively. And for the other challenges, like I was mentioning earlier that this economical, socio-economical situation is going to be, I hope, not that bad, but the numbers, numbers, the points lost for every GDPR in the world, all of this will potentially trigger like a very big economical recession. But for every startup that will be involved in this, what we call the distance economy, because today we're living a distance economy. Just to give you like an overview about the story of this, like in back to 2001, like after the first pandemic of Corona, COVID, whatever. I guess that's the period in China where people would actually buy in from the internet, and that's the period where there was such a great boom for Alibaba, for example. People, this is where, I mean, back to then, this transformation, this pandemic and crisis made e-commerce boom. Okay, in 2007, 2008, again a recession, big economical crisis. So what are the most successful companies? Is the sharing economy startups like Uber, like Airbnb. And tomorrow it's going to be distant startups, and startups that can allow their customers to have services abroad or away, and be able to pay for them, and be able also to be cheap and efficient. And there will be no place for startups who would, there will, it's how the economy and the social things move with crisis. And definitely this one will change a lot of things. And one of these things is that people will be more eager to pay for e-commerce, for distant economy kind of startups. And this is where the future successful companies can grow and be the next maybe unicorns. And so I think you have the elements to answer your questions, but basically to sum it up, there will be definitely an economical and social recession, but for startups that are able to be efficient in this period, provide services that are cheaper, that can be shared, will definitely succeed in the next months, because that's how our economy will look like in the future. It will be recession, but again, for each recession there is an end. But till then, we need to be able to provide very good services, build things on the digital world, and keep involving people and keep educating people, because Unfortunately, in Morocco, we're still a bit late with credit card payment, with using the digital services. But so far, people are now discovering these things, and they are starting to buy things and digitalize their homework and so home spaces to be able to have better spaces to work, better spaces to collaborate, and more connected homes, so they can feel comfortable in their places. So yeah, I'm staying quite positive about what can happen in their future.
Yeah, I think you have to be an optimist. And listening to these challenges that you're facing and that a lot of Moroccan people are facing, and this whole shift of economies that we've been witnessing since the 2000s, is very important, I think, for people, and even for people who are looking for opportunities. I think what you've displayed and what you've explained is a really important way to see the economy. And I guess you're in the right moment. And you've said that a couple of times whenever we talked about, moving to Morocco. You said it's the momentum. I feel that it's the right time to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And that's really highlighting it again, because even though I don't know, you probably not paying attention, but I am, from like an outside perspective, and I'm like, this is it. You feel it. It's the right time to invest. It's the right time to commit to your startup or to your work. And it could be the contrary for someone who's ready to quit. And I felt that, for example, when I was like, you know what, this is the time for me to do something else, then I'm gonna do it. I think that's so important. Like, knowing where to stop, and knowing where, when to start and when to stop. And I think I think you'd agree with me. In entrepreneurship, it goes both ways. You have to know where to stop, and you
Absolutely,
have to know when to, go
absolutely.
full in. And you know, I've been listening to your story and your experience. That's really fascinating, and I'd love to like ask you very like pointy questions about your business, and I'm probably going to do that
No problem.
later. But there's some. I know that you've learned so much from your mentors and from your consulting jobs and your, from business school. But what is for you today someone that you look up to? Someone that you either someone or you don't know, but what is for you a role model today?
I guess for me it was always and still will be my father, basically, because he is the one who could set that limit for me when I should when I really should have had that limit, because he stopped for the experience that I was counting about Dorney. He stopped investing in the company. That's where I really abandoned, and he was really right, because even though he wasn't living that with me, he was in Morocco, I was in France in my very small dorm room, trying to save the world with my projects. But he was the kind of person that really aligned. He stopped me when I was really in that dream, the big confusion of what should be an entrepreneur. And I think he really had the cleverness of opening my eyes at the right moment. And I'm really happy that I didn't move a step ahead with the project and tried to find magical ways to make it work. And he really was an eye opener for me, and I'm really thankful for him. And he basically invested in me when if I look back to myself from today's perspective, I would never invest in the
Yeah.
past Otman, because he was a dreaming boy, and my father still did. And that at least helped me to know what is what is requested to be a real entrepreneur and not. Even though he didn't necessarily
Yeah.
bring me the the learnings that I had, because I am from a completely different sector. He's in architecture and buildings. I'm in digital. I'm in data and deep learning and all that stuff today. But the main stuff, the basic stuff, he was the guy who actually helped me open eyes on. And that's why he is and will be my idol regarding that, because he never stopped believing in me. And the fact that he actually stopped me at a certain point by not investing anymore in my dreams, I think, because he was seeing the impact on my health and on a daily basis, and it was a very good option. And that's really made the shift, made me keep in mind for all the years that came after, that I really wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I will do my best uh, before I come back to entrepreneurship to be the best I can be in what I want to be. And that's really what
Yeah.
propulsed me lately.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really, really great because I know that, and after talking to many people, I I do know that not all parents are as supportive. So you're very lucky, to have parents who've supported you from day one. And I'm pretty sure right now they'll be proud for your startup. Not yet, maybe, but they they will be eventually. When you make it to Forbes magazine, not even when you make it to, like, I don't know, is there anything more than this them that you can be
I
featured
think
in?
even if I come with a Lamborghini to my
Anything?
hometown, and they will still ask me if I still didn't find a safe job.
Yeah, a safe job and a wife. Other than that, you're
Yeah.
still a kid, okay? And I just wanted to know something else about, role. I asked you about your role model, which is the person, that helps you and motivates you. But um on a daily basis, like, flat, concretely, how do you find your motivation on a day-to-day basis? Are you, someone who listens to podcasts or reads, or none of the above? How do you find your day-to-day motivation to get work done?
In myself, basically. I think it's a classical response, but my best motivations come of the relationship that I have with myself, and I always want to make myself, uh, you know, uh, I mean, I support myself. I encourage myself. I it's not that I do not have people who do that eventually, but uh, you really need to be in perfect balance with yourself, and that's how you can keep up the good work. And so I treat myself. Sometimes I take breaks at some at some periods of the day where I should really take a break. I really do not force myself, so I know when I need my body and I need my energy, they will be there, because I respected my body. I respected when I was tired. I respected my brain when it was gonna explode of the huge task list that I still have to do. Uh, and to make that easy, I always put qualitative and quantitative objectives during my week. So basically, I never confuse everything.
Mhm.
It's not always a simple task list. It's just uh, maybe every Sunday, like tonight, I will just say what will be my quantitative objective. So basically, it's all the tasks to be done, like the administrative stuff, blah blah blah, blah, that would take me a year to finish. But I would try to make a lot in that week, and I would set to myself 3 qualitative objectives. So objective 1, 2, 3, and if I'm done with the 3 qualitative objectives, and I am just 40% of my quantitative, I would never be hard to myself at the end of the week. I would say, okay, no problem. Just to do not say the F word, like, just okay. It's okay to not be able to finish that. I've done 3 things, 3 qualitative objectives, and that's how I can reward myself, take breaks, watch movie, have a drink. That's how I live. I try to build a perfect atmosphere around myself with very good musics, and always separate my objectives. Like, basically, I would never confuse quantitative with qualitative objectives, and not to feel again ashamed, or telling myself, oh man, you just did 30% of what you have to do this week. That's stupid, that's bad, blah blah blah. I was always like that to me before, but the more I grow up, the more I know how important to maintain a very stable relationship with your brain, with your body, with your spirit, and that's where my very, very positive energy comes going forward.
That's really good. That's like a good answer, because I really believe in that too. And I think people, every time they see someone who's doing great or who's successful or hardworking or positive, that has energy, they're like, ooh, where do you get your energy from? Why are you so positive all the time? Like, okay. And I get it. And I relate to what you're saying, because I do think it comes within, and it's so important. Whatever the motivation comes from, when it starts from within yourself, that's the good one. That you're doing the right thing. And I think that's such an important message to send out for people who are listening, but
Yeah, be kind to
also for,
yourself. That's really the
people
message.
in general. Yeah, I know. And I don't really think that everybody gets to that point very easily or quickly. I think it just hits you at some point, when you like really overwork yourself.
True.
And then you're like,
That's true.
okay, gotta stop now. Um Actually, I wanted to know something, because I hear and I understand that you're someone who's super ambitious. I want to know now, at 28, near 29, what is your ambition? What do you want to do with your life? Like, if anyone, or if you sit with yourself and say, what do I want to do? Like, regardless of the timeline, or, I'm not going to put, like, this is not an interview for a job, but like, sincerely, what would be a like your ambition and goal as of
Well,
today?
moving forward and having more gray hair and I would always be an entrepreneur. I think I'm born to stay an entrepreneur, and I think I will be an entrepreneur. Like, I really do not have any financial objectives. I might be worth a million or billion in 5 or 10 years, and I would still do not mind that, because that's not really where I want to be. My objectives for my years are not financial. They are more about impact. And I really want to be in the next years, going forward, having more and more impact with Pipipiala, and basically opening new countries, helping people in Africa move in a more affordable, a more comfortable way, doing all I could do, and all impact I could do to save to help at least save the environment, and have like a very positive impact on our world. That would make me very, very proud. Like, and I think I would still be going, trying new projects. Like, when you fail once, you never trust your project enough to never fail again. You are always ready for plan B. And that's what you learn while being an entrepreneur, even if you have the best indicators for your startup. And that's at least what I guess for PPPL right now. There are very good indicators. We're going on the right spot. And still today, I'm thinking of plan B, C, D. What if the project doesn't work in 2 years? Like, I'm already building and constructing everything I can in my free time to move on new things. And I still have some passion for other subjects. Like I told you earlier, I want to relaunch my previous project. I have so many good ideas to implement in Morocco for the future generations. And that will be, I think, most of it related to technology, to digital. There are so many projects that are still not launched in Morocco. That's why it's a very it's a very good play field for entrepreneurs, Morocco right now. And moving forward, I really want to see a wider impact on Africa. That's really my ambition. I'm wishing very hard for that to happen, and I will keep working every day until it happens. And I also want to see myself probably in a happy relationship. That's I think one of the priorities for me is I mean, as long as I would be, going wild, not stopping every time, like not having proper time to invest, while today I'm trying to change these things and try to be, to act in a more mature way with my current girlfriend. But the idea is that I really want to not be that work animal that I used to be, but work in a more efficient, smart way, and keep learning until I reach everything I would love to do in the most lazy way, like in the most not hard working way, because you do not necessarily need at some point of your entrepreneurial life to be very, very hardworking for it to succeed, because your first success will bring other successes. That's why it's important to focus and have a very good relationship with yourself for your first experience to succeed, and to have this first success card that you can use to raise the money for your next project, or etc. So I'll be having a lot of fun in the coming years, I hope, doing entrepreneurship again, and keep learning, and having a stable relationship, I hope, till then. And enjoying probably Morocco, and maybe other countries. Like, I have no stable identity for what I can call home. I mean, it can be anywhere in the world as long as I'm happy and having positive impact around me.
I was gonna ask you that. I was gonna ask if you see yourself settling in Morocco in the next few years, or for you, it's just this is where the opportunity is. I'm gonna be there, or are you attached to making a positive
That's part
impact
of
in
it,
your
but
country?
as I mean, the best example is starting to the impact from your country, and my biggest success will be moving this success from here to other countries around, and for it to be a Moroccan successful story. That's something I would be very proud of, but not necessarily staying in Morocco, because if the business is still going and is based in Morocco, and I'm living in maybe in South Africa, like it wouldn't matter for me, as long as things are well represented in Morocco around me, and the businesses that came from it.
That sounds really interesting. And I'm crossing all my fingers so that comes true. But I just wanted to end up this podcast, even though I still have so many questions, as I said. But I'm pretty sure otherwise we're going to make it a 3-hour podcast. And it's not cool for, for my first season. I'm trying to keep like the podcast short, but I just want to finish up on a question that I always ask my guests, which is, what is the best advice you've ever been given since you were since you were born? No, but since your past years, and how did it help you at a situation, like at a given moment? What was the context that you remembered and you were like, you know what, this is exactly the advice that I need?
Actually, to be loving, to love life, to respect the others, that kind of roots, that good advice that comes from roots of your family, your background, and my parents, like I believe I had a good education, and that's what makes me a good person in any given situation. Like I am, and I'm very happy that at some point I remember this basis, and this good basis of human relationships, that made me be calmer, or more stable, or more understanding, or more compassionate at certain times of my life, which actually made the difference. And I I have these things, and I have also the patience, like that I learned myself, and that I was advised on, to be patient, because everything comes with patience, and not be in a spot of the entrepreneur that is always impatient for his next thing, but try to stand on what you're already doing, and make it work the best possible before moving to something else. Keep focus on what you're doing, and never stop believing it, and always treat people the way they deserve, and be always compassionate, and never tell anything to anyone until you can put yourself at his position. And that's something basically I would never be able to do is to talk badly to someone, as a manager, as a co-founder, you know, talk in a bad way to my employees or something. That's something I would never do again.
When did you do it? I was just gonna ask you. Was there a situation where
Yeah,
you were
yeah. That's
impatient?
my. I was very, you know, it doesn't seem on me because today I'm always happy, always smiling, talking. You know, you would never see me, you know, not happy doing it or saying what I say, because I feel comfortable and 100% confident saying what I say and doing what I do. But when I was a child, like, I was very nervous. I was like shouting. I was very competitive. Like, I remember very well. I used to go and play pool with my friends at that period. Like, and I was very like, j'étais un mauvais perdant. You know, I was always, you know, shouting at myself, why are you doing this way? Like, I was very like, I was my worst teacher. I myself was my worst teacher when I was a child, and I believed that anger is a way to express disappointment, uh, than actually reflecting on yourself and see how you can improve things without basically shouting or being, you know, a bad child. And I was really a bad child until I was at least 14 or 15 years old. And I've seen competitions in ways and in things that should not be, and I acknowledge that for sure, because even my best friend at that period suffered from that. And I was really, you know, mauvais perdant. I was always, if I didn't succeed the first time, I was like super mega focused on that only. I could not sleep if I did not find the proper way to reach that or solve that problem the way my friends or anyone around me would do it, or the quality of their play, for example, when it goes to pool, for example. So yeah, I was very impatient, very angry boy, like, and it not I'm a perfect Buddha,
Yeah.
like I'm a Buddhist today.
Maybe you should go ask your like co-founder or your like business partner or anyone in your team. I don't know if they're gonna
They'll
would they
definitely
say
tell you
differently.
that, and I believe that they will really, they are appreciating the work that I'm the work, the collaboration that we have. They see like them always bringing that smile on the people's faces, like I'm trying to be very positive all the time.
You yeah.
If I have to be at some point angry or anything, I would really make it private, very slow, in a very, you know, explain the reasons why, and try to make it more rational than just expressing something out of anger. And that's came from my education and from the time I gave to myself to be a more mature boy, and understand that hurting people will not make me a better person, or talking badly, or being that challenging, like, you need to be challenging in a very good way, and in the positive things of the life, and not consider that gaming or whatever you do with your friends or whoever is around you, that's something out of challenge. And I think that's also part of my the reasons why I stayed 1 year challenging myself. I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and I felt ashamed because I didn't manage it. But all that going through, there was the anger apart, because I could, I really managed to get rid once for all about being angry, but I still kept that competition and that self competition to reach objectives. And today I'm really proud to be able to focus that on the right things.
Yeah. Well, I do believe that a lot of people, including probably myself, I don't even know how it was as a kid, but I think a lot of people go through that teenage life, I'd say. And I do understand that with time, with experience, with failure, with like disappointment, you learn to overcome that and become a better person. Was there anything you read, like, did you read a book? Did you watch something that has impacted you at some point of your life? Or was it, or are you someone who's, just focused on yourself and that's how you changed up your mind? Or,
I really had to go through a heartbreak to understand that it was not the the right way to deal with things. And basically, just to give you the resume, the resume and the summary of this story, to make it short. Like I went through a geek life back to my to teenage life, and I really was the kind of guy who was always playing video games and blah blah blah. I was very angry, and that's where really my anxiety and stress and anger came also from. And I it's again a very juicy story, because I remember it very well, and I know that there was a girl at some point, when I was it was like my kind first of crush, kind of thing, where actually this girl, like, it's a sad story in reality, but I was traveling to somewhere in Morocco, and I wouldn't say the name of that city, so maybe I don't know if this story ever get heard. But the idea is that this girl,
That's okay.
like, we met during a holiday, a travel holiday with our school, and this girl like came close to me, and from my geek, very very introverted perspective, I was like, oh my god, this is the girl of my life, and it went so fast, like it's crazy. I think I was probably 16 or 17 years old when it happened. And this girl like basically made me think that she actually was also attracted and all that stuff. And we spent some hours together during that school holiday kind of thing. And once she felt that I started to be attached, she just told me it was a joke that was prepared with her friends. It's like, tu vois, it was a kind of engage. Yeah, prank. Yeah, and this prank
It was
lasted
a
for 24
prank.
hours,
Oh.
and it totally destroyed me. And I went back to Fez, and I took a break to go and focus back on myself. And that's really the period where I stopped playing video games, playing everything that actually prevented me from understanding that it was a joke and not something real. And I think that is like my most secret transformation in my life. It really happened after that travel with school, and I came back and I completely left the games. I destroyed all my accounts. I stopped playing. I stopped doing everything. And I thought the only reason that I could emancipate from that angry boy, very introverts kind of stuff, is to completely focus on my work and my studies. And I went from very bad grades due to video gaming to fantastic grades that gave me more confidence in myself, made me learn new things like playing guitar, playing things. It was really the period where I stopped really playing video games. And I think many people can relate to that. When you stop really playing and losing your time in video games, you start producing things, and you start having some positive impact around you. And with all my due respect to the pro players, like if you're a pro, you're pro. You do it for a reason. But if you're just playing for playing and you're not ever even figuring out how you're going to make money from it, at some point you're losing your time, definitely, and you should stop it. And you should consider your situation, and bring back your humanity, because real things happen outside your computer, not the fakey things that you think you are living in that game. Because I mean, I'm very sorry again if that hurts the players' feelings, but I went through that for years. I was playing days and nights. It really impacted me on my school, on my temper, on anything. And once I stopped everything, I started to be myself, learn music, read a lot, having great grades, which opened great schools, which opened entrepreneurial spirit, which, and that's only, like a domino effect, and you make your domino effect go the way you want it. And if you are just losing your time playing video games and being angry and shouting and doing all that stuff in your place, you will never get to learn what is to be in the real life and its real challenges and its real connections. So that's how I grew up, literally.
I'm pretty sure that story would have resonated with a lot of people. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being part of this podcast. This has been so enlightening for me. And I'm pretty sure we have so many talks. We're gonna have so many talks after this. We're just not gonna, you know, give out
Sure,
all the
sure,
secret
definitely.
projects to people listening right
It
now.
was a real pleasure to me, to Nouhaila, to have you and discuss with like even though
Thank-
it triggered some of my memories, but I'm really proud of the person I became today, and that's really becomes from all the experiences of people. So people never have to that's why it's important to maintain a very good relationship with yourself, and very good balance, because that's what makes you comfortable moving from your comfort zone, basically. And that's my advice for everyone. Like, go challenge
yeah.
yourself, stay rational, organize yourself, make plans, be sure to be with the right people who will invest the right amount of time with yourselves, and more of all, be humble, respect people, and show love, show respect and admiration, and everything's gonna be well for you.
Yeah. Well, honestly, even though I don't know you that much, but I'm really proud of how far you've come. And I really hope this podcast, I know that like we've talked a lot about your past and what brought you here, but I know for someone who's, always busy and hustling and trying to make an impact, etc., you sometimes forget that how far you've come and that you've done so many things so far. So I really hope this was it. This was like that moment that got you to realize that you've done amazing things so far. And I am pretty sure you have a lot of things upcoming, and I'm gonna follow that, of course, and be the number one supporter.